What is up, my friends? Welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today we need to talk about this 4070 or 5070. I'm sorry, it's a 4070 Super, but okay, guys. So obviously, I didn't get a free review, but I can review the reviews, right? So let's talk about this for a minute because, okay, guys. I don't know if Ubisoft, or not Ubisoft, sorry guys, I got Ubisoft on the brain because they finally accepted me into the creator program. I'm super excited about that, but I wanted to talk about the 5070 Super, or the 5070 from Nvidia today because, wow, man, I've watched a bunch of these reviews and all of them basically saying the same thing, that it's literally on par with a 4070 Super. And, you know, I get that everybody is probably upset with Nvidia right now, just because this launch seems to be extremely lackluster. It's not really moving anything forward. It's pretty much just a rehash of the last generation of products. And to be completely honest with you guys, I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing, but at the same time, you know, Nvidia could have moved things forward a little bit by providing 16 gigabytes of VRAM on the 5070. If you think about the closest competition for this card now from AMD with the 9070, that coming out at $550, more powerful, and having 16 gigs of VRAM. And then we also have the 9070 XT from AMD that is also going to be competing blow for blow with the 5070 Ti. And it just kind of makes you wonder, to be completely honest with you, it just kind of makes you wonder if Nvidia, if they really just got to a point where they felt like, man, we don't even really need to do anything. Like why do anything? Let's just put these cards out, knock $50 off them, make everybody happy, come out, put out our you know, I think that I guarantee you Nvidia is going to have a significantly more presence of the 5070 at MSRP, as opposed to, you know, like your 5070 Ti. Obviously, the 5070 Ti is probably by far the best card in the stack from Nvidia this generation. I love mine. I mean, you know, guys, this Asus Prime has actually grown on me, and I'm glad that they kind of staggered this launch. To be completely honest with you guys, had 5070 come out at the same time 5070 Ti came out, and I wasn't able to get the Ti, I probably would have ended up just getting the 5070, and then I would have literally been right in the same place that I was with that 5070 or the 4070 Super. That card is not bad. Okay, first of all, for anybody out there trying to like really be negative about the 5070, let's be real, that is a very good card. It's gonna do very well. The biggest issue with that is the gosh dang 12 gigabytes of VRAM. I do kind of wish that Nvidia would put 16 gigs on there. If that's probably my only complaint, to be completely honest with you, with Nvidia since I've been PC gaming, is the dang VRAM. They need to just get with the program, start giving you the right amount of VRAM, especially with their 60 series, their 70 series, obviously their 80 series. I don't care if they're all 16 gigs of VRAM going forward. Like, I don't care. They just need to make it so that when you buy a product from Nvidia, you don't automatically suffer from FOMO. And from what... And this that would make more sense to me than anything, because if Nvidia really is more interested in serving their AI and their, you know, their creators or whatever, you know, the data centers, stuff like that, if that's really their main focus, put enough VRAM on your freaking cards for the gamers so that when they buy a GPU, they don't have to worry about buying one every freaking generation. They can just buy that. And then it takes a lot of the pressure off of Nvidia going forward so that they can allocate the majority of their cards to data center, because that's what they did. We all know that's what they did. We all know that that's the reason there's going to be, there's not a lot of supply out there. They sent all that stuff over to data center and their higher paying customers, and then they gave gamers what was left. And that sucks. That absolutely sucks, because it creates this tension in the PC gaming market. It creates this FOMO, this scarcity, this feeling that you've got to pay significantly more money for the same products we already had. Like we already had this power with the GPUs that were already in the market. This is literally just a refresh, new body style. That's all it is. That's all it is. And to be completely honest with you, the way that it's creating this freaking stupid scarcity in the GPU market, it really sucks, because people shouldn't have to feel like they have to spend significantly more money for a product that really hasn't, I guess you could say that the Blackwell GPUs are a little bit better. They've got better performance and ray tracing. They got overall, better compute. They've got better, IPC, all of that stuff. Obviously it's true. It is to an extent. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like a big enough step forward for gamers to be like excited about it, to be really excited about it. And I see in everybody's comments, I see a lot more anger over Nvidia. Not necessarily like people like, oh man, Nvidia's trash or anything like that. I see more anger at the fact that it's not living up to the namesake of Nvidia with the way people envision and see Nvidia. The 50 series Blackwell just does not seem like that. Like that, oh my gosh, man, this is the best. It doesn't feel like that anymore. It feels like a half step. It feels like a slap in the face to gamers. It feels like that, that it really just doesn't feel great. But here's the thing. So yeah, there's a lot of gamers out there that, AMD's going to launch their cards here in a couple of days. And this is the way I see it. And before everybody starts getting all happy, like on the AMD side being like, oh yeah, AMD's going to get market. They're not going to take market share in the way that you think. The thing that's going to take market share from Nvidia is the fact that like people are going to be like convinced to buy AMD over Nvidia. And they're going to have to see that AMD experience, and they're going to have to really believe in that being the experience for them. Sidestepping for a generation to go, sidestepping for a year to go buy an AMD product just for, the TI and the Supers to come out here later next year. That's not going to do it. That's not going to do it. That is just okay, well, as soon as Nvidia comes back out with another product that's significantly more powerful and higher and better and stronger and all of that, that's not going to be enough. That one generation of basically feeling forced to buy an AMD product over an Nvidia product because Nvidia dropped the ball and didn't do something spectacular with it, that's not going to be enough for somebody to give up their whole freaking love and affiliation and all that for Nvidia. It's enough for them to be like, all right, fine, you don't want my money this time, Nvidia? Well, I'm going to buy AMD. AMD has to have a product good enough and strong enough for these people to be like, okay, cool, I can easily give up my dependence on Nvidia for this AMD product. But with AMD coming out like every other generation, it seems, or every couple generations, and then saying, all right, well, we're only going to compete in the mid-range or whatever. They're like, oh, we're just going to compete where the gamers are at. Well, that there automatically makes it so those Nvidia people that are used to buying those Halo products or used to buying those higher end cards are going to look at that and be like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't feel like this is the product stack for me because I want that enthusiast product every couple of years. And if AMD is not going to be able to produce that or bring that out, that right there kind of makes them feel like they really don't have any other option but staying with Nvidia. And when you get products like 5070, 5070 Ti, 5080, 5090 that are barely an improvement over the last generation, you know, that puts even more pressure on the whole freaking PC place, because then they're like, man, AMD's not even competing, so Nvidia doesn't even feel like they need to make a good product. Like, I get it, dude. It's crazy. I mean, me personally, with this whole PC thing, this generation is actually kind of a wake-up call for me, to a point where it's like, look, I can keep chasing the high end, but I would rather kind of just come back down to like that upper mid-range, you know, the 5070 Ti, the 9070 XT, and just put that as like my power limit going forward. You know, unless something like really spectacular comes out and I just absolutely want maximum power, so that I can play that. But like right now, guys, I actually feel like I'm pretty satisfied with the AMD experience. Playing around with Nvidia right now, you know, too. We're going to do this whole generation. We're going to cover 5070 Ti versus 9070 XT. Obviously, we'll throw a little bit of 9070 or 7900 XTX in there as well, as kind of our like there's our like power budget, and then we'll just kind of branch off from the other two a little bit or whatever. But yeah, this is pretty exciting. But at the same time, man, this whole Nvidia launch has just given AMD the ability to essentially catch up on features and stuff, which isn't a bad thing. Obviously, that would produce better competition going forward. You know, kind of taking a little bit of the pressure off of AMD. We got a lot of hopeful people thinking that AMD is going to just magically produce an 89 or 8090 and a 9090 XT or whatever within the next year or so. I don't know. Like, I'm not confident. I'm not that confident to see AMD do that. I mean, maybe if the 9070 and 9070 XT take off and really do produce a big enough inroads to Nvidia's freaking monopoly, then maybe I could see them being like, okay, maybe we do need to double up on this and put something out like right now immediately to kind of capitalize on this for the enthusiast people. Maybe they do that. Maybe they got something in the works. Maybe, you know, but I am just not confident in the fact that I could see them doing that, unless they are really bringing out UDNA 5, you know, combining CDNA and RDNA within the next year or something, and bringing out another, you know, really high-end GPU. I could definitely see that happening, and them definitely being able to, you know, really kind of go at Nvidia on the high end. But I don't know, man. You guys say you don't want these $1,000, $2,000 GPUs, but AMD is not going to just give away free power to try to gain that market share. In AMD, you got to stop thinking about AMD like that. They are there to make money. They are just as good, in my opinion. Their products are just as good and just as strong as anything I've ever bought from Nvidia. And in fact, I absolutely prefer AMD over Nvidia. So to be completely honest with you, I don't necessarily think AMD really needs to be super cheap. I feel like they need to be competitive, you know, within the price range, not over for sure. Definitely not over, and not so far under that they're losing their shirt on it. No, like I definitely feel like the AMD products that I've bought have been more than worth the money that I've paid for them. So at the end of the day, as a PC gamer, I would like to see AMD and Nvidia compete. And, you know, I don't necessarily look at this launch for Nvidia as super bad. Not necessarily even underwhelming. I feel like the 5070 is was definitely underwhelming. This should have had 16 gigs of VRAM, but in terms of 5070 Ti, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. I would like to see them actually be able to sell that at $750, but I think people would make the stretch to buy this card. After playing with this thing for just about a week now, I could see people being like, yeah, it's worth the justification to stretch it up to $1,000. Anything over that, way too much, but up to that, I could definitely see people being more willing to stretch their money. And I do think the 5070 Ti is probably the best bang for your buck out of the Nvidia stack this generation. The one that I could easily see people buying a lot of these. I think that's kind of why Nvidia did what they did. I kind of feel like they positioned the 5070 Ti to pretty much take the mantle of like your higher end gaming GPU. So I don't know, guys. This is going to be an interesting generation. I can't wait to get my 9070 XT. Hopefully I can get it this week, and we'll get to testing on them. We'll get to having some fun with these. But till then, you're going to be getting some more Nvidia and some more 7900 XTX content. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. We'll see you in the next one.